Hey guys, how you doing? Derek here from M1 Realty. Just want to take a second today and give thanks to all you guys for everything that this channel's turned into and the community that's developed because of it. Just want to talk about that for a minute, and then I'll let you guys get back to football and turkey and all the good stuff. And, I'll talk a little bit about real estate too, because, that's what I do. But really, first and foremost, when I've had this channel for years now, 6 or 7 years, but I really started focusing in on it about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, with the idea of just, letting people know what's happening on the ground in the Metro Detroit real estate market and just give my tips and tricks, my opinions on what's going on with the market, what recent developments mean, things like that. And I'm hoping that I've done an adequate job of that. I think I have, the way that this channel is growing. But, that's mainly because of you guys. What I was hoping for, but I wasn't really expecting, was for so many people to resonate with with what I'm telling, the content that I'm putting out, my opinions, things like that. So the fact that started to happen is super. I'm like super appreciative of that, and that's really, it's turned into something more than I expected it to be. So again, thank you so much, guys. I truly appreciate it. And not to mention that the past couple years haven't exactly been typical real estate years nationally or locally. So that's pretty cool that we've been able to go on this journey together, going through extremes of low inventory and prices and interest rates almost tripling in the span of a year and a half. So the fact that we're here where we are now, and I think the market is going to really start to rebound moving forward, and I think that means great things for everybody that I've worked with on this channel and for everybody else that's watching too. So let's just talk about that for a minute. So where we're at right now, this is obviously the day before Thanksgiving 2023, and I think, knock on wood, I think the worst of the market is behind us. I think, barring any unforeseen craziness happening on globally, or anything that we're not expecting happening with the economy, I think where we're headed now is into a market that's a little bit more indicative of what we've traditionally seen. The rest of this year is a total wild card, but I'm talking about more as we get into 2024, what we're going to see in terms of inventory, prices, all that good stuff. And the number one driver of all of that is mortgage rates, which are starting to finally come down. It's been a journey from May of 2022, where they just really started spiking, up till this year, really about a month ago, where they kind of peaked at right about 8%. And now they've started to drift down a little bit. Now we're in the low sevens only a few weeks later. And I think what we can expect to see, throughout the course of 2024 is for rates to continue to just gradually come down. I'm not expecting a huge drop, although that might come. I think a lot of it depends on, on inflation, basically. If that continues to lessen and become less of a factor in the overall economy, we're going to see rates come down faster. But I think the Fed's going to be hesitant to really lower them a lot quickly, simply because if that happens, the economy picks right back up. We could be back into an inflationary market again, which nobody really wants. So, but at any rate, things are going to be trending in the right direction throughout the course of 2024, I think. Like I said, I don't have a crystal ball, but just reading the tea leaves, that's how it's looking right now where we stand. And to kind of piggyback off of last week's video, we're kind of in a perfect storm, like in a good way, where we're seeing rates start to come down. We're seeing prices start to come down because the rates were so high, it was exerting some downward pressure on prices, and we're seeing inventory start to come up. So, the time of year that we're in right now is typically traditionally the slowest 6-week stretch of the year for real estate in Metro Detroit, at least in Michigan overall. But we don't normally don't see inventory increase this time of year. We see it really drop to the bottom of the barrel, which we're not seeing. They're holding steady right now at levels that for this time of year we're not really used to seeing. So we've got a little bit more inventory than normal. That's the same thing that we saw last year, although last year was more of a like boom, here's a spike in inventory. This year's been more gradual. So I'm after what we've been through for the past couple of years. Any increase in inventory is a welcome sight. We're certainly not anywhere close to being to have an excess of inventory. Right now, we're still, on average for the cities that we look at, right about 2 months worth of inventory on the market. And it's not till we get to like 4, 5, 6 months that it really shifts into a buyer's market. I think at one point, if we want to go way back to the recession, we're talking like 2009, 2010, stuff like that. It wasn't uncommon to have 6 or 7 months worth of inventory on the market in any given area. So that's kind of the other extreme. And we've been literally for most of the last 2 years have been tracking inventory in the number of weeks of inventory on the market, not even in months, because for the most part there's been less than a month worth of inventory in almost every city that we look at. So we're kind of getting back to that kind of healthy level of inventory, and we're not there yet, but we're trending in that direction. And I think just short term, like from now till the end of the year, or maybe the first couple of weeks of January, we're going to continue to see prices decrease just because we're not in that peak buyer time of year, if that makes sense. So even though rates are coming down and inventory is going up, I think prices are going to continue to go down simply because there aren't as many buyers looking right now this time of year, and we wouldn't expect to see that anyway. But for the people that are looking, if you're looking to buy a house right now, this is about the best time I've seen in the past couple of years. So moving into 2024, I would expect if rates continue to decrease like we've talked about, even if inventory continues to increase, I don't think it's enough to meet the excess demand of people that are sitting on the sidelines just waiting for rates to go down and before they jump in and buy a house. I would expect, this is the not great part of this video. I would expect prices to kind of spike back up once more buyers really start jumping in because the rates are decreasing. It's to be expected. We've been talking about this quite a bit. We'll see what happens, but I would anticipate that's where we're going to be. I don't think it's going to be a crazy bloodbath like it has been the past couple of years where every house has 15 offers on it, although it could get there. We'll just have to wait and see on that. But I think overall, we're going to begin to see a market that's a lot healthier than what we've been through the past couple of years. And by healthier, I think we're also gonna see days on market start to increase. We might see prices kind of stabilize after a while. I think the initial we're gonna get. I think when things shift and people start jumping in off the sidelines, we're going to see that initial spike in prices, and then I think they're going to level out. I hope. But, because where we've been is unsustainable too, with like 20% year over year increases in average sale price. Like that can't continue for too long. And that's kind of moderated in the past year or two. So I don't think we're going to go back to that extreme. But so what we're going to see, more inventory on the market, which is good for buyers, gives you more options to choose from, more opportunity. You don't necessarily have to just jump on the first house that looks good to you and that you can kind of make work. You can take your time, find the right place that's right for you and your family, and then when you do, the rates are going to be lower. It's going to be cheaper to purchase that house. And on top of that, I think after, when we have more inventory on the market, there's going to be fewer bidding wars, or at least fewer buyers per house bidding on it. So, in a perfect world, we'll be able to negotiate the price down a little bit and go from there. Don't know if that's in the cards for 2024. I hope it is, but, that's one of those things we're going to have to wait and see. But, all in all, I think 2024 is going to be just a more, I don't even want to say a better year, because what's good for one person isn't necessarily good for another, but just a more predictable less, a little bit less pressure-packed year. It's just going to be easier to find that right house, negotiate it out, get it closed, and then do what you want with it. And for my investors that are watching right now, I think there's going to be much more opportunity as well. The more inventory we have, especially on the lower end of the price range, there's going to, like, those prices I think are going to start coming down. We're going to start seeing a little bit more foreclosure activity. Not a ton. It's not going to be a 2008 type thing, but these banks, the banks that I work with anyway, I've got more foreclosure assignments than I've had in years. Like literally since I opened M1, I've worked with banks the whole time. But when I started this company, the company that I left, like I knew when I left there that I was going to be giving up a big chunk of my foreclosure business, and I did. That was, those contracts weren't in my name, so they had to stay with that company. Even though that business was kind of going away at that point. But I mean, there is still, at that point in time, quite a few foreclosures still like kind of circulating through the market. Those are pretty much gone, but the ones that, we had those eviction and foreclosure moratoriums during COVID, those are lifted. Those are the properties that we're starting to see hit the market. Generally speaking, I've noticed there's like kind of two trends as to who's getting foreclosed on. Number one is people that died during COVID, and then they either don't have heirs or the heirs don't want the house. So those properties are going back to the bank. And then the other segment that people that are getting foreclosed on are just like the worst landlords on the planet. So just people that can't collect rent. Just I mean, for whatever reason, I've talked. A couple of them have called me. Those are some interesting conversations. But yeah, that's really who's getting foreclosed on right now. It's because everybody else, if you lose your job or you get behind or you run into hard times or whatever the case may be, everybody's got equity. So you can just sell your house and you're not going to get foreclosed on. You're going to turn a profit. And even if nobody wants to be forced to move out of their home, but if that's the situation that you're in, you're not going to face foreclosure. You're just going to sell your house. Walk away with $20, $30, $100, $200,000, and then rebuild from there. So that's why we're not going to see this flood of foreclosures, just because everybody's got so much equity in their homes right now that you really have to try hard to get into a position where you're getting foreclosed on. But that being said, we're going to see more of those than we have been. There's also, there's going to be some other, I think, some opportunities there. I think a lot of people that bought investment properties with the intention of turning them into Airbnbs are beginning to be disillusioned by that. It's not quite as easy as it was a couple years ago to run an Airbnb and make it super profitable, just because there's so many more of them now. So that kind of has to, that business cycle has to, that ebbs and flows. We had that peak. It's going to crash a little bit, and whoever's left, it's going to kind of like return back to its level. And I definitely wouldn't say don't buy a house and turn it into an Airbnb, but be realistic about how often that's going to be booked. There's a really great site called AirDNA that analyzes the opportunity that you'll have if for a specific home and turning that into an Airbnb. So predicts how often it'll be booked, what price you should be in at. It's a really cool site, so check that out if you want. airdna.com. But aside from that, I think what we're looking at is a nice, predictable, steady year. It's going to be, not as good for sellers because, we're not going to have those bidding wars where you put a house on the market and it gets bid up, $50,000 over what you had it listed at. More than likely, that's not going to be the case anymore. You might, if you play your cards right, you'll get a couple offers. If you've got a really nice home, you present it the way it should be, and you hire me to promote it for you, you'll be in good shape. But it's going to be a little bit better for buyers, and we haven't been able to say that for a really long time. It's been a very extended seller's market. I think in the grand scheme of things, it's still going to be a seller's market, just not as extreme of one as we've seen the last few years. But that remains to be seen. But enough rambling from me. Again, I just wanted to thank everybody that watches this channel. It's awesome. I never thought the fact that I've got to 30,000 views on this channel is just astonishing to me. Like, people have spent that much time, that many people have watched, you know, my thoughts and ideas on the real estate market is pretty awesome. I'm kind of humbled by that, and but not to the point where I don't plan on making this channel even bigger and better and continuing to grow it. But you know, the number of people that have reached out to me from this channel that I'm working with right now, managing properties for, selling properties to, is just, it's just awesome. Like, I hope that this would happen, but I didn't really expect it. But super glad that this has you know, been the result so far, and I'm, you know, redoubling my commitment to y'all, and you know, anything you guys need, that's what I'm here for. But I'm just going to continue to do what I'm doing, and you know, bring in relevant content, showing you what's really happening on the ground. I got a really nice St. Clair Shores waterfront video that we're still editing, but that should be ready in a couple weeks. And you know, just putting a spotlight on different cities that I think bring a lot of value for investors and buyers. So at any rate, guys, thank you so much for watching today. And like I said, I'll let you get back to the turkey and the football. Go Lions. I can't believe we're at this point where the Lions are actually the best team in Detroit out of all the sports teams. Like, who would have figured? But it's been a long time coming. So you know, I wasn't born the last time they had this good of a record. I think they're 8-2 right now. I think it was 1962 was the last time they had this record. So we're gonna enjoy that for a while, run with it. And thanks again, guys. Really do appreciate it. Anything you need, you know how to reach out to me. 586-491-5622. You can also reach out at 248-561-6155. Shoot me an email, dwerenka@m1realty.net. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. You know, I'm on all those platforms. If you reach out to me, I'll respond quick. And again, thanks so much, guys. Talk to you next week. If there's anything I can do in the meantime, just reach out. And aside from that, have a great Thanksgiving.